And we are recording. Hi, guys. Instant Gratification, episode 3. I have my lovely friend here, Paige.
Hi.
Paige, tell us a little about yourself.
All right. So my name is Paige. I'm from Rhode Island. I'm an actress. I did air quotes, whatever the hell that is. I've lived in the city for like 2.5 years. Same place in Brooklyn. I moved to the city as a full-time nanny.
I did know that.
Yeah.
And
under the assumption that like after a year she wouldn't need me, which was true. And then 3 months after that year, I would be solidly working as a full-time actress. Hasn't happened. Hasn't happened. But yeah, so I have a lot of insight into like income inequality and craziness.
Man, the things that we do in New York.
The millionaires, yeah. It's crazy.
I had a friend that she was a nanny for an Upper West Side producer, like film producer.
Which is she an actress too?
She was an actress too.
That's like
so it was
crazy.
Great. Yeah.
At the same time though, and I have a story on that. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so she basically was like on the low. She was like, I'm gonna quit eventually, but like I'm gonna drop off my resume and
it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. And then one day she called me in the morning and she was like, hey, this is insane. This is crazy. I think she texted me. I don't think she called. We don't call anymore.
No, we don't.
We know. Even if it's like an emergency. It's just like, hey, get back to me. I'm here.
Like, okay, Mom.
Yeah. And she goes, hey, so the lady that I work for.
Oh, is a female producer.
Yes.
Interesting.
With a family. And she goes, she's doing a movie with James Franco. No. And she needs, they're like the person that was supposed to carry this like hard drive or something to like.
Oh, no. Wait, so there was a hard drive for Rush, like, was it carrying James Franco's
like footage
information?
And shit, like footage and shit. And then she was like, she needs someone to take it. Can you do it?
What? This is like hush money. Like, what?
She was like, can you do it, Miriam? And I was like,
why you? Like, why couldn't she have done it?
Because she said that I think she was just like, I don't think I'm able to just like, I don't think I can.
Hold on to it and not view it?
No, just like going alone to a this is Eastern Europe country.
Yeah. Wait.
And I was
she needed you to go to Russia?
Yeah. She was like, the lady asked her to do it, and she said no.
This is the kind of shit, man. This is the kind of shit
I remember,
that we deal with.
I literally remember, I remember having a moment of like, I guess I'm going to go and take this to James Franco, because
that is so funny.
When else in the world am I gonna like? I mean, hopefully I'll have that out.
Because the Deuce is over.
Well, it wasn't over. I
got Taft-Hartley from the Deuce, by the way.
You did? Was that where you got it?
I got it. From my understanding, how you get into the union through doing extra work is one of 2 ways. Or 3 ways, actually. So one of the ways is you get 3 SAG vouchers, which are kind of just like willy-nilly, right? They have you like serve a plate of food to Claire Danes.
Like if you're a featured extra.
Then the second way, which is how I'm SAG eligible, is you get Taft-Hartley'd once, which so a Taft-Hartley they give to people if they can't find SAG actors to fill specific roles. Which I was kind of confused about. I was like, you can definitely find SAG actors to do this, but I think it was the timing. It was the timing thing. It was the timing because it was the week of the 4th of July, and the funniest thing was, okay, so the Deuce is about like the porn and sex industry in the 1980s and 70s. The most recent season was the 80s in New York City. And so I found it on like casting networks, and it was like, all right, we're looking for Russian prostitutes a la 1985.
You're like, got him.
I'm like, people in my neighborhood try to speak Russian to me. Got it. So they're like, would you guys be able to submit pictures of yourselves in bathing suits? And I was like tossing around the idea, and I was like, is James Franco going to see this? It's disgusting. But I ended up sending them. Like my friend Yada, who's Israeli. She just recently moved back to Israel for a minute. on her own volition, but she's like very much a go-getter. Like she will put herself in positions. She's like, just fucking do it, Paige. So I sent it in, and that was a Thursday, and then they were going to have the fitting on Monday. So I assumed that if I hadn't heard back by Friday that I didn't get it. So I didn't hear back on Friday, and I was feeling like this was like the start. So like I said, this is the beginning of July, end of June. This was the start of like my, depression. That's kind of
we will talk about
it.
Yeah.
So this is like the start of it. So I'm feeling low about myself. Just took pictures of myself in a bathing suit, sent it to God knows who, like casting director or whoever, and then didn't hear anything. Was like kind of feeling sad about myself as a result or whatever. And so I didn't hear anything back by Friday. So I assumed that it was a moot point. So I book because I'm from Rhode Island, so it's not that bad to go home. So I book a bus back to Rhode Island for the weekend, and I get a text either Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was just an automated message, and so it's like one of those like central casting kind of texts that's
yes.
Hey, can you come in for a fitting? Da da da. Yes, no, da da da. And I go no, and then I get a response. Why not? And I'm like, what? This isn't an automated response right now.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah, sometimes it's not.
And it was kind of eerie because I was like in my bed, like my childhood bedroom, like answering this text. I don't know. And so I go, so they're like, why not? I'm like, Jesus Christ. I said, I figured since I hadn't heard back, I was just straight up. I was like, I figured since I hadn't heard back from you guys on Friday that, I didn't book it or whatever you even call extra work. And I'm assuming it's a woman. She was like, and so I said I wouldn't be able to book a bus back to New York until like Tuesday, which is the day of the shoot.
Yeah.
And the fitting's on Monday. She goes, you can come in day of, get fitted then. And by the way, we're going to give everyone a Taft-Hartley.
So you were like,
so I was like, okay, $75 bus back to New York right
for
quick.
Sure doing that.
For sure. So I did it, and I went. So I went straight to like.
Did you have a line or
Studios?
anything?
I didn't have a line,
but you had the right look.
But you can
of what
see me in it.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like you can visibly, like you're like that's you. But it was cool because I mean I had only ever done I think one or two other extra things, so I was really fortunate to have gotten that. But it was probably one of the better experiences because you get the SAG food. So you get your own fucking omelet.
It's all about the food, guys.
It's all about the food. And then also like hair and makeup, it's the 80s. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. Like hair and makeup probably took like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So that was cool. And then also like in that time period, I think like 1 or 2 weeks away from that, I had booked this like industrial video. So that was pretty cool. So it was kind of like...
So you were getting some wins.
There were some wins happening. And like, I think I attributed it to, and even to this day, I'm like, well, it was July and like everyone's doing summer stock. And I also did like some auditions that I think like for theater, like EPAs that I think really fucking landed for like Atlantic and stuff like that. Like it was the first time, maybe not the first time, but I had cried while doing a monologue in front of the powers that be in New York. And I was feeling great about it. But then, like, you start to realize, like, at the end of the day, sometimes it's just not about you.
No.
It's not about you. And I actually, one of the shows that I really wanted to be in that I auditioned for at Atlantic that I thought I nailed the audition for, I did. Yeah. I went to see the show, and I was just like...
Really? You're like, really?
There was one actor that, like, fucking nailed it. So everyone else in the cast is in their 20s, and then there's this one guy that's, like, middle-aged... African-American dude. And the whole time he's on stage, you're just like, this guy. And not to detract from anyone, but it was like, he was so authentically this character.
And then it makes everybody else look like kind of shit.
And he basically has 2 scenes. And one of the scenes is like a longer scene between the protagonist female who's like 22 and him. And you were just like sitting there just like, this guy is a legend.
But it's like...
This guy's amazing.
So I told you that I did that internship at a casting director's office. It was actually like a really good experience in the sense that like I got to like really see what goes on. Like
please, girl,
when
preach.
When you guys, when we leave the room.
Oh my God, tell me.
And it's like, I didn't realize that, like, the casting director is, like, such an advocate, like, for us.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, if you're getting called in by a cast,
one-on-one, but then you're
but
like,
it's
really
true.
what?
No, it's really true. It's like, they really, like, if they call you in, it's because they like you. They don't call people in
on the
if they
verge.
don't like you.
Absolutely.
If you're in the room,
yeah,
you're talented. If you're getting an appointment
you're
for the
shit.
people, you are
You're the
talented,
shit.
and they think you could do the role. It's not like a matter of talent. It's a matter of
not.
like, once you're in the room,
Are you charming?
no, it's
Okay,
it's,
well,
yes.
don't be an ass. Don't be
yeah,
weird
all
charming.
those things are obviously, nobody wants that, but it's like, it's really like the director and the artistic director of the theater or whatever the show or whatever it is. Those are the people that are actually making the final calls. Like,
Yeah.
and they, a lot of the times, it's really about a certain look and a certain aura of the person.
Yeah. Oh.
The first time that I was in the room and running some of the auditions,
Were you an associate or an intern?
I was an intern,
Okay.
but I was doing all this stuff that I was like, what has happened? Like,
Yeah.
what? And I was in the room and we were casting a show. I'm not going to say the name or anything like that, but like, we were casting a show, and they were looking.
It was a theater.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was a theater
theatrical,
show, and it was like mainly a musical. So they were looking for a specific. They were looking for a POC, which is what they call
Yeah,
it.
that's so
Person
annoying.
of color.
That's
It's
so awkward as hell.
Yeah,
though.
so they don't even say person of color. They just say POC.
Okay. Yeah.
So they wanted a POC, and we brought in a bunch of people. Some of them were white. Most of them were POC. Didn't matter. So we get to callbacks, and the girl that they really want, because of her look, she's a killer dancer.
Sick.
Like a killer dancer.
Yeah. Sing? Can she sing?
She could sing.
I feel like there's one that's just like better. Like, you know what
There were better singers.
100.
And they were
yeah.
better actresses.
Yeah.
She could dance,
Really well.
but she had the look.
Yeah.
And that look, like, after the auditions were done, like, she did some shit in the room that I was just like, no, I was just like, if I pulled that shit, I would never get anything in my life.
And that's you saying that. If
That's
I pulled
me
that
saying
shit,
that.
I would be dumb white bitch.
That's
never
me
ever
saying that. This girl was
And you are like,
I wanted
Cuban,
to shoot
right?
someone. I wanted to shoot someone.
yo,
in the
I've
face.
seen that shit happen in one-on-one, and I'm like, you're marketable though.
She had.
It's so
She
crazy,
had
girl.
that, like, very much like In the Heights look that they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted somebody who was like Latina from New York, like hoops, like sass, like all the sass,
like
all
the baby
things.
hairs,
Baby
are gelled.
She had the baby hairs.
had the baby-
She had the
they were-
short hair. She was like, that
She
is
had
what
short
they
hair,
want.
too?
Short hair.
Okay.
Like a yes, short hair.
Yeah.
And it was a look thing. And
100,
when
yeah.
she starts going through her audition, she has to stop several times because she starts going, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just so nervous right now. I'm just so nervous right now. Can I do it again? Can I do it again? We spent so long with her, the longest, because her nerves were so bad that she couldn't get through the thing, and she booked it.
Okay, so, but like up to that point, nerves in mind, like what was her background? Because I feel like after a while, the nerves become like whatever, maybe? Or was this like the biggest audition she had been to?
I think this was probably I don't know the theater company. I think she was equity, but I think she got equity. She only had pretty much her whole resume was In the Heights and West Side Story.
Or
No.
Broadway?
No. Just like regional stuff.
Oh shit.
So and mainly what she had was In the Heights, West Side Story. And totally
Like ensemble or
no, like some good roles.
Okay,
like some good roles.
Yeah.
But she was talented.
Yeah.
But when there was this other girl that I really, really liked. I'm not sure where she was from. She was Asian.
Yeah.
And I thought that she was like the better actor. I thought she had the best chemistry. The reader was the guy. He was the actor that was going to play the role.
Wow.
So it was like whoever gelled with him was going to be a great thing.
Yeah.
She was great, and she didn't get it. Yeah. And that's when I realized I was just like, this shit is not about
to do with me.
Yes.
Ever.
Exactly.
Ever.
I mean, the best you can do is like take away all the distractions, take away all the mess, clean yourself up, be nice, be polite, be of course yourself.
Yeah.
Do your homework, do your job, get in there, kill it, walk away, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult for actors.
There's a lot of nepotism too.
Yeah.
Like the show that I was talking about, I was looking at the program. Pretty much everyone, I mean, because everyone was like between the ages of like 19 and like 27. If they didn't go to like Yale MFA, they grew up in New York.
I've seen that so many times. I mean? Yep.
So you're just like, okay, so you
like
took
LaGuardia.
This, you took this like 17 or 19-year-old girl from LaGuardia and like placed her into this role. And then this guy like went to your summer, theater camp.
They all know each other.
In 2016. They all know each other. They're all circle jerking. And then there's like that one person like from like fresh out of Yale.
Yep.
And then there's like that guy who's like 35 who's been grinding
his ass off.
Like probably did NCIS
for 10 years.
For a second. I mean like yeah.
It's just really hard. It's really hard to break into it. And all you can do is like, what do you think you do in order? Because you talked about having a dark moment. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we all have
a really dark moment. Yeah,
when you're dealing with rejection.
Yeah,
constantly.
And I don't audition as much as I should. I don't. Like I had a friend back home say, how many times a week do you audition for things?
What'd you say?
I'm just like, I don't. Like every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think everyone always feels like they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
not doing enough. And I've recently like been starting to focus more on theater, at least in my thinking and in what I've been preparing on the side. But yeah, like this week there were a lot of EPAs. Friday I'm definitely going to 2 EPAs. But there were a lot of EPAs this week, and as I'm looking at like the casting thing, and I'm like, okay, so there's one person that I could potentially go out for, but there's like 700 other people that are like me. Like, what are the chances? And also, what are the chances of me even being seen and this, that, and the other? Like on Friday, there's like...
And you're still non-equity? I'm
non-equity, yeah. Because I did a lot of theater work in Rhode Island, and one of the theaters that I did work with, they became equity granting right the fuck after I left Rhode Island, which is fine.
Oh, that's
nice.
It's
fine, girl. But like, yeah. But I recently had an audition for, you've probably heard of it, Actors Theater of Louisville.
Yes.
Their acting apprenticeship.
Yes.
And I've like made it to the next round.
Great.
So, and then they just like give you EMC points, but you live a pauper for 9 months.
You will be working backstage a lot. And
I'm like going to be sweeping up blood from Dracula. And then like maybe.
I have stories about that theater.
She definitely does, because you're like deep. You like know the Midwest.
Well,
you know the Midwest, right?
No, yes, but I've never worked at Actors Theater, but I've been at I've been at the end for Dracula twice in like final callbacks.
Literally, why do they do Dracula every year? Okay, I understand the Christmas Carol thing every year because the regional theater back home does it.
It's like their big thing.
Dracula every year? You do have to get sponsors.
It's like their big thing.
I've done a BDSM production of Dracula before.
What?
I was Lucy.
That's the role I was going for.
There were ball gags. Yes. Were you?
No, dude.
You could be Mina, though, too.
Wait, which one's Lucy again?
Lucy's like...
She's not the one that dies in the beginning. I'm talking to which one's...
Okay, so like right now I'm thinking of like the Bram Stoker like actual novel, which is so much better than the stage play. But so Lucy's like... So Mina is...
No, Mina's the one that dies in the beginning. She
of the stage
Lucy,
version.
Yes, I did Lucy. Lucy's the one that's still chilling.
She's chilling. Yeah,
dude.
Okay, so Mina does not. She doesn't even get to see like stage.
Not really. She kind of appears as like a crazy vampire
honestly,
girl.
Bram Stoker's legit novel is so interesting because Lucy has like a harem of dudes trying to fuck her, and it's so much fun.
It was so much fun acting like that. Like, I remember, like, it was my first year in New York when I got, like, the audition and the callback. My agent didn't even get it for me. Like, they contacted me. I don't know how. I didn't submit myself or anything.
Interesting.
They contacted me, and I went, and I was, like, I was a fucking mess. I had just moved to New York. I had just broken up with my homeboy. With my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was, like, working at a job I hated.
What were you doing?
Like, oh my God, serving, which is the worst. For me, it's the worst.
For me, it's the worst too.
It's the worst.
That's why I watch people's kids and like make lattes.
I did it because at the time I was like, I didn't know anything. So I was like, am I just gonna, it was so flexible. Yeah. So I was in like a little bit of a long distance relationship for a bit.
Yeah.
And
I can go home. I can go.
Yeah. So I would leave, and if he came to New York, then I could be like, yo, I'm leaving by, and they would take me back every time.
That's crazy.
And I thought,
where was it? What was it? What
in
restaurant?
A terrible place. I'm not even.
But you made money though?
Yeah, I made money, but like not worth the time that I was putting in. It wasn't. No, it was terrible working environment, and I literally was so depressed. And I was like, I was like, I don't know if I gotta find a job that's gonna be able to like sustain this. Then I'm not sad. But whatever. Long story short. They call me in for this, and then I get a call back. That's awesome. The next day, and then I fucking go in, and I straight up off book and shit. I am acting so fucking possessed, and like I'm a fucking vampire. I went up to the fucking reader. I went up to the fucking reader.
Yes,
and
you
literally
did,
went like I literally went. And I went to like literally bite him. Like I literally went to bite him. You were like
feeling yourself too.
Dude.
Did you practice this shit in your room too? You were actually possessed then.
Like
the ghost of Stanislavski just like came into you.
I love auditioning.
When all is said and done, auditioning is a good time.
Auditioning is fun because you get to fucking perform. Yeah. It's
Which
fun.
Is so sad. At the same time, it's like, I get 3 minutes.
It's so sad. No, but I had a great time.
That's awesome.
I didn't get it. And
you didn't get it.
And then next year, same shit happened. Callbacks. They
contacted you.
And they were like, I was going to Montreal, and I was like, hey, like, have you guys made a decision? And they're just like, can you please just like hold for a bit? We're holding some auditions at local. And then I didn't get it. And then I saw the people that they chose, and I was like, oh, she's a stunt person. I'm not gonna beat this girl out. Like,
she's a stunt person.
Yeah.
So
like,
what do they ever do? Like.
Because it's like it's a very physical show. It's like a very intense physical show. Like part of the callback is like I had to do some like stage combat stuff.
Oh God,
it's very physical. A lot of stuff.
Did you have stage combat experience from grad school?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I know some grad schools like really harp on that.
Yeah. I had like 2 semesters of armed and unarmed. Yeah. So I was good on that and the callback was fine. I think it's just, they wanted who they wanted, and that's fine. I mean, I'm rolling with the punches, but I want to know what it is that you do whenever you're feeling in this place of like rejection gets to you and like you doubt yourself, because there's a lot of doubt when it comes to this business and pursuing this career.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was a nanny for the first year, so I wasn't going on auditions. But I found, like, I was making a lot of money nannying. Mm-hmm. And I was, like, also taking some classes in the city. Because, like, New York classes are much different. For me anyway, like, I studied psychology. I never, like, full on was in a BFA or anything. But I had taken classes,
Yeah.
But New York acting classes are, like, okay, this is real kind of thing.
It is.
At least to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you took me there. Oh, okay. So I was taking classes, and I just remember, and like I was doing fine in them, and I was doing really well. But like whenever I would feel like I wasn't doing enough, like say, because that full year, like my intention was to, get a good like repertoire of monologues or something like that. Whenever I felt defeated and like I didn't want to practice or something like that, I would just buy something,
like clothing.
Do you know what I mean? Like clothing, or I would do weird shit. Like I would get. It would be clothing, like Kate Spade, or it would be,
whoa.
It was like that.
Nice.
Yeah, girl. Or Free People. Or I would get like a self-help book or a self-help journal and just like do that bullshit.
Yep.
Even though that was evading the issue altogether. But now...
You think it was? You think like self-help books were...
I think to a point, it's like... I love self-help books. I find comfort in them for some reason.
Me too.
But also sometimes it can stunt your growth if you're just thinking like... If you're just in this loop of what can I do to better myself and you're just consuming this information and journaling... There has to be a balance between like introspection and action.
Like actions.
Yeah, girl.
Literally, the
so
fact
bad.
that you're saying this right now, it's so crazy.
I was thinking about it today too. I was like,
all
that I have to do right now is stay in my room. I don't have to go to a coffee shop and look at my planner for the next week and look at Playbill jobs. All I have to do is stay in my room and practice a monologue.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I should do, but... You know what? I'm going to go and get that like $5 cold brew and sit and just look at my planner and like maybe read a play. Like that's not really getting me anywhere.
I think there has to be obviously a balance.
There has to be. Because like
do
as
need
artists,
to go
we
inside.
are introspective by nature. And I think it's like, it's validating that there are things out there like books and journals that cater to that. You know, now more than ever before.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, like you gotta produce.
And not only produce, but you have to just like, you gotta live life. Like you gotta have fun. You gotta go out there and experience things that have nothing to do with the thing that you're trying to achieve.
Because that gets crazy.
It gets crazy because in your head, you feel like you can fix it.
You feel like you're behind too.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm behind because I'm not doing this 100%. And I had a friend that lives back home. My friend Andrew is an actor back home in Rhode Island, but he has a connective tissue disorder that makes it so that he cannot not live with a parental guardian. So he's 20.
He has to live.
He has to. He has no body fat. He's 28 years old. He was able to do like a summer intensive at Stella, but he had to fundraise because he doesn't come from means. Mm-hmm. He like went about finding housing in the city for those 6 weeks. That was like of no cost to him. He made sure that housing was near a CVS so he could get his medications, and also that it was open 24/7 so he could eat, because he can't eat vegetables. Because he's on like blood thinners and stuff. Like he cannot eat vegetables or else he feels like shit, which is crazy to me. So he like has a really shitty diet as a result, but he doesn't gain any weight, so it's like fine. So like he had to make sure that like the CVS was there that like has, you know, the lasagna in the freezer and this, that, and the other. And he was able to like do all of these things on his own and fundraise. And so in a sense, like he looks at me and he's like, you have all of your faculties and like you're able to like live in New York and be this person. Like, wait, where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Okay,
we were talking about. I want to
sorry.
Put this down
oh God, what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about.
I just went into Andrew like so far.
Well, we were talking about like when you get too introspective and you stopped. Stopped, you know, actually just living life and just like allowing life to give you the clearance that you sometimes or the clarification that you're looking for introspectively all 100%. The time.
So he said to me, he's like, you need to do something other than consume dramatic works and, you know, hang out with actors and this, that, and the other. Like, he's like, for me, it's video games. I'm able to like shut off with that. And like, I'm not a big TV watcher, so it's like not even that, which is still kind of part of the same animal.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, it's like, yeah, working out is cool. And then
working out is essential.
Meeting people that aren't in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is where my dating life came from. Yikes.
So you tend to date guys that are in actors?
No. Okay, like putting this in perspective, over the past year, with the exception of the person that I like just started seeing, every person that I've been with has not made less than $115K a year. Just like fluke.
So that's nice.
By fluke. But at the same time, like, I'm not driven by money, too.
No. Yeah.
But they're usually like in finance or in tech.
Yep.
And what's weird is that
Is it hard to connect?
Not that it's hard to connect. It's actually really easy to connect.
Okay.
And if anything, I think it's weird because like while I envy like the stability of their lifestyles, they envy the fact that I can just like do whatever
you want.
Quote unquote do whatever the fuck I want, even though it's like I don't have healthcare and like I can't just like up and leave to Jamaica. Like if you know what I mean? Like
yeah, but they do envy the fact that
they envy the fact that you're like bohemian and this, that, and the other and shit like that, and you're just like,
how are you meeting these guys?
Now. Just like through friends or like at the coffee shop I worked at, and or a lot of the times men will approach me when I'm reading a book in public, which is really fucking weird.
But that's sweet. I like that.
It's sweet, but then it's like it's
like a meet cute. Ish.
Depending on who the guy is, but essentially they're like approaching you based off of this like humble thing, but then they turn it into something else.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But so it was interesting to kind of like get to know their worlds at a glance, and to them because their line of work is so linear. To them, they're like, why can't you just plan this and then this happens? And it's like, it's not
because it doesn't.
Up to
that's
me.
not. It doesn't work like that. You don't go from like school to like now you have a job to a residency to your thing. Like it's not a linear thing at all.
So it's fucked.
But why is it? So for you, being with someone that maybe makes less money but is more like maybe more, is it more relatable to you? Like,
so I also, so before I transitioned out of nannying, so my boss, aka the mom of the children that I nannied for, was the CEO. She was self-made, which I respect in a person.
I do
when someone's
too.
self-made, hell yeah. She had a lot of stuff. She's originally from the Midwest, and she said to me, because she used to work on Wall Street and then she gave it up and like created her own company and whatever else. She said before I transitioned out of nannying, she was like, you're gonna need to marry rich. Like, I can help you. I have a lot of contacts on Wall Street right now.
Yeah.
And she said, the thing is though, you only have a 2-year shelf life.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
What
like, most of the people you're talking about are in their 30s.
Yeah.
She goes,
like, bitch, I'm still in my 20s. Leave me alone.
Yo, Holmes, but listen, and I have noticed this. She goes, Wall Street guys want someone like in their mid to like little before that 20s, because at 33, they are still largely 24. It's like at age 24, they start making $500,000 a year, and then they're stuck in this cycle of doing coke.
Yep.
And staying out late and still somehow looking presentable enough
to
go and work a full-time ass finance job. I really don't understand it.
I see it bartending all the time. I know these guys, girl, and I can't. I have to babysit
and they
them.
come the fuck around to you. It's like they'll like not talk to you for 3 months, and then they'll like come back and be like, "Hey, how you valuation?" And
how
you're
you
just
been?
Like, and like their names, they have such like Caucasian ass names. Like their names are literally last names.
Yeah,
I'm like really talking about someone in particular.
I know exactly the kind of guys you're talking about,
and like. There is that sense of...
It's like a Peter Pan thing. It's
a Peter Pan thing. And like the younger, the better. And this, that, and the other. And I have dated men that were approaching 40 too.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
Like...
I'm trying a new thing, which is I'm dating people in my 30s now for the first time in my life.
Weird, right?
Yeah, because I've always dated younger.
All right. Well, now
so
I'm
annoying.
dating younger. But so the last guy I dated... quote unquote, was 38.
Okay.
He was self-made. He literally grew up in Belarus. Like, fucking Chernobyl happened. And then his parents moved to, like, Sheepshead Bay. And, like...
You gotta think for Russians.
Interned... No, I was Russian once. Okay. Interned, like, on Wall Street when he was 15. And then just, like, went up the ranks. But what was interesting about him was... He was self-made, and also he was like secretly a poet. So what I find with these guys is they have
They do.
They have this like artistic niche that they kind of like stuff away.
Yes.
And then like maybe because you're like, I'm just an artist, they're like, ooh, shit.
I know.
I can do this.
But then what happens is when the shit gets real.
When the shit gets real.
When the shit get real.
When they tell you that they have a wife and kids. Yeah. When they tell you that they have a wife and kids. Wait, what?
Or when you... Dude, is that what happened?
Yikes.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
And you had no fucking clue.
No. And then he hits me up still. He's like, I'm going to be in your neighborhood from 5 to 7. Want to take a walk? And I'm like, I'm not going to take a walk. Why are you even in my side of Brooklyn?
Why?
Like, are you visiting your family? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, you live in Dumbo. You're fine.
I think it's, I think I've realized that, like, I think this podcast is me attempting to understand this shit. But, like, I don't understand those kinds of men. I don't understand maybe men in general.
They're just like, they're hollow. Because they've stuffed themselves with money and security for so long.
And like
they've never confronted any
and
of
they
them.
don't know any, like for me, I feel like because we do this introspective work, because we have to do this introspective work, like you can't get into the mind of a character unless you you have to look deep into your shit like all the time. And I'm not saying you're thinking about your shit all the time, but like you do have to think about like what is the fucking emotions, like all these feelings that we got to talk about and we got to let them out. You can't be afraid of them.
Yeah.
People, these guys, specifically these guys and men that I've dated.
It's such a type in New York.
They don't know what that is. To them, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of time to look inside and like think about your feelings and why you're the way that you are. Mm-hmm. And if they don't feel like they ever need improvement, like we think we constantly need to improve, they think that they're just like, but
it comes out though.
No, it comes out because it cannot come out because
no one's ever challenged them on it. You know
and
what
then
I mean?
you do.
Because like I see the way they operate. Like at my work, I see the way they operate, and it's so weird serving people like that and like dating someone like that. Yeah, is weird. Like you feel like I always say this as artists, you're like a court jester. Like you can talk and, you know, you can talk and relate to the upper echelons of society and like joke with them. Yes. You are not them.
But you're not them.
But then you are also able to relate to like the groundlings.
Yes.
But are you them?
Because at the end of the day, it is a luxury to pursue a career in the arts.
It is.
The whole idea of like the starving artist is to me always bullshit because like if you're starving, no fucking way can you make it. No. You can't afford shit if you're starving. No, you can't afford classes. You can't afford shit. No. You can't afford to meet people. You can't afford a gym membership. You can't afford anything. You can't live.
I'm by no means starving. Like if I texted my parents today and was just like, I'm going to need some fucking help with rent, they would help me out. Mm-hmm. I do know some people here that do not have that luxury.
I don't have that luxury.
Exactly.
I haven't ever had that luxury.
I know someone in particular that she works at a very, very high, like Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah.
Full ass time, moved here to act, but like is afraid. I don't know if she's afraid. I'm sorry, girl. But like, even she says she's poor, and I know how much money she makes. But but like she is absolutely grinding. Yeah. Absolutely. Like had like dental work done because like something went awry and like had to put money into that, but did not have any help from back home. Do you know what I mean?
I think that
like her,
that stuff can. Me and my last roommate, we used to talk about this a lot of the times. Like a lot of the times when you do come from that privilege that a lot of these guys like that we're talking about like come from, or like people whatever pursuing things in New York that have that privilege. There's a certain level of like hindering that does to a person.
Yeah. And it's not like my parents like give me like I know people who are fully funded here in New York.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like I just know like if I needed $200,
you know,
if
that
I was gonna buy, I could ask them, but it's not like they are giving me $900 every week.
Yes,
which I know some.
But
people
it's like
do.
if you ever like really needed help, like you know that you have that support.
Yeah, and my parents live 3 hours away. Like
yes, yeah. And I think there's something about. I mean, I think it's not easy for anybody to ask their parents or to ask for support. people that have that, like, for them that's super easy. I don't understand those people. I mean, I think that I don't really hang out with people like that just literally don't work, like that just go that
don't work,
or they don't even feel bad. They don't feel bad about not like they don't feel bad about asking their parents to support them indefinitely. There's a sense there's like, I understand if you need it, but like you gotta like at a certain level, like it shouldn't be like I'm just gonna have my parents like support me. I think there's a sense of, even for people that are well off, there is a sense of shame of like, why can't I do this on my own? Why can't I
have a friend like that, and she even says, she's like, I feel like dirty when my parents send me money. Like, and I respect that. Via transfer.
I respect that more than somebody who's just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I do think like that not having that support, like you can only grind because you know you don't have that support. So for me, I've always been the kind of person that I'm just like, I have to get it done. There's no other option. And I've lived like that for so long that at this point, like, things don't face me as much because I know that I'll get it done because I have to get it done.
Because you have in the past.
There's no, exactly. So it's just like anything else. Like, and I think as people in general, like, you gain that repertoire of like, I've had these experiences. I've gotten past these experiences before. I have confidence in myself that I can do it again.
Absolutely.
And I feel like for certain people that like that've never dealt with that, they don't have that. They don't have that foundation.
I'm like in that kind of full circle thing right now because the most money I've ever made was from watching wealthy people's kids. And I haven't done that in so long. And now because this past year has been me like working kind of menial jobs and like scraping by and trying to pursue acting. But I went about it the wrong way. I was looking at the end result, whatever that is, as being me getting representation, and like that opens up a door. But I wasn't looking at actually putting the work in and auditioning. And so this is kind of tangential, but like, I feel like I don't know, like I have to go back to babysitting because that's like the fastest way for me to make a lot of money. And then also not thinking of representation as the goal, but thinking as just like the craft as the goal.
Bettering yourself as an artist.
Because I've never felt satisfied just pleasing people. Like I've only ever felt satisfied making art. I don't know.
I mean, no, I think from the joy that comes from creating and nurturing your craft, that's when the stuff starts to come.
For sure.
That's when like the representation and there is a level of like,
and you don't even care attraction if it comes at that point.
You don't, because you're living your life and you're having a good time.
And like I've had ebbs and flow of that in New York.
Same. I think everyone goes through that.
And I don't think this like friend group and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Within the project, but
But I was gonna ask you, because it's interesting. We're talking a bit about money and dating, and I think like for me that's something interesting because like it's funny. Like I don't look at guys, like I don't judge guys that much on like how much they make, but I judge myself on how much I make. Do you ever find yourself that you're like, oh, guys are going to want a girl that makes like, you know how like now women have much more opportunity. We've never had this amount of opportunity.
For sure.
We are leading so many industries right now, like education, like everything, right? And there is a level, especially in New York, where like women are like killing it here. Like women are killing it here.
For sure.
So then I sometimes feel it's just like, oh, like are men more attracted to a woman that like kind of comes from like either money or like is so like killing it, self-made, and like a non-artist thing?
Do
you know? Because I don't know other artists that like make that much money.
No,
you know?
Same. So one of the guys that I dated, hi Kitty, that works in finance, he's always drunk, so I don't know. But he said to me, he's like, I could never, and this is really misogynistic. He's like, I could never date a woman that was like at the top of her fields, whether it be in finance or, the medical field in New York, because there is a certain he's like, there is a certain
I've heard this before.
kind of woman that gets to the top of her field in New York as opposed to, say, in Wisconsin or in Ohio.
I mean,
and you know what? I have been on the receiving end of that. Like I said, like my former boss, there is a certain level. I mean, I don't want to make a broad statement, but in her case in particular, there is a certain level of fuck y'all. I'm going to do what I got to do to get this bread. And she was trying to say to me, so she's very good friends with an artistic director in the city that holds a lot of clout. She said to me, why don't you have lunch with him or his partner? And that felt wrong to me. But I know that, like, that's how she got to where she was.
That's how a lot of actors have gotten to.
Exactly. Like, you have to just be like, I'm here, F y'all. But that's not in me to do that.
It's not in me either.
And I think that was part of my dilemma with, like, should I give up acting on this broad scale? Because I'm not ruthless like that.
Yeah.
And these guys that I've dated that are very much, like, they've paved their own way through doing that, more or less, and can sleep at night. They've done that, and they're like, I can't see why you can't just do that. And I'm like, as an artist, you walk this fine line because you could be a salesperson, but your product is yourself.
It's yourself.
And that just feels dirty to me, to be like, this
is my product,
motherfucker. Like, what up? Like, what gives me the right to, like, insert myself into these situations in that way? I can see their point. I get it, but when I look at actors that I personally, like, really enjoy, and I like their story, their coming of whatever, like Rami Malek. I love him so much.
Yeah.
There's something so tender, but, like, introspective about him.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver, like, Adam Driver's not, I don't see him being the guy that's like, hey, listen to me. Then again, he went to Juilliard. Rami Malek.
But then again, they also
did
men.
Pizza. Yeah, he, like, was, like, working at Domino's and, like, put his headshot and resume into, like, boxes and, like, yeah, kind of paved his own way, but I can't see him being like, yo, like, let's get coffee and I'll tell you how great I am. Yeah, they are both men. But then,
isn't it really about staying true to yourself then?
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a certain level of that, because I feel like there's a lot of people that have made it doing that, and there's a lot of people that have just, like, they can't make themselves be that. They can only be themselves.
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
And they got lucky enough that somebody wanted them for who they were. And that is a very lucky thing. Like, for anybody that's listening,
luck is such a big part of this.
You have to be prepared, but being at the right place at the right time and being the product that has a market is the most essential thing. And how do you know when that time is going to be?
Or create your own market. Like Greta Gerwig.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was a dancer initially. I don't know if you've seen Frances Ha.
I have. It's really good.
I've seen, like, this. It's good. I saw it after watching Girls. And then, she kind of paved her own way, and she's, like, a writer. In addition to, she was a dancer, she's an actress, she's a director. You know what I mean? Like, we do have YouTube and all these things. And then also, because there are all these avenues to make your own work, you're like, why aren't I doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, have I not met the right group of people? Do I have anything to say? So
yeah, like, what is the thing that you are trying to say?
Exactly.
Because I feel like for a long, long time, actors have just been somebody that, here are your pages, and here's your script, and this is the thing that you just make it pretty. It's an aesthetic. Make it pretty.
Yeah.
But now it's like, we do have these avenues for expression. So what do we have to say? Like,
exactly.
Sometimes I was thinking about this today. This is going to sound terrible.
Do it.
But I feel like I used to be so smart.
Oh my God.
No, wait.
That was another part of my existential crisis. Keep going.
So,
holy mother.
I feel like...
In college, right?
In college and high school, and, like, even at a certain point in grad school, I felt like I was, like, still... But ever since I've moved to New York, because I've been so focused on this career and this networking, and it's... And guys, for whoever's listening, I'm not trying to offend anybody, obviously. I'm just saying there is a level of like, I'm not as intellectual as I used to be because half the time I'm worried about emotions.
Yep.
And how to portray them.
Yep.
And I'm worried about what I look like to other people.
So,
and all I talk about with most people is I studied political science in college. So two things that people don't really want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the bartender being an actor. Well, they do. They actually really do like it because if they like you, they do. They want to hear that shit. But nobody wants to hear about the actor that's like sad because they're struggling all the time. Like, I feel like eventually that gets tiring.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a trope. Yeah.
The other thing people don't want to hear about is politics. So I have not a lot. I mean, I have a lot to offer when it comes to like human relationships, which is the reason why I'm doing this podcast, because I feel like my job, all of my jobs are about relationships.
For sure.
All of them. Sure. It's about human interaction. Yeah. So my like sense of like emotional maturity is through the roof.
Oh, same.
My intellectual EQ. Maturity is amazing. My like book smart like what I used to know and how quick my brain used to work.
Same.
And my interest in things and my reading of books that have nothing to do with a script has plummeted.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
Yeah. My coming to Jesus moment was with that.
Damn.
Was like over.
This is dark.
Yeah. Over the fall, I had like interviewed at like 2 different catering companies and I was like, okay, cool. One of the catering companies was constantly sending us these events at this slime museum, which is still open.
Did you say slime?
Yeah, slime. Like the shit children play with. And so I studied psychology. So I was like, I studied psychology. I have a background with children. The psychology thing will come in later. But essentially, so I was like, I have a background with children and like it pays, whatever. So I started like signing up for these shifts at this slime museum. And so you get like trained on these different areas. And there was one day where I got trained on this area. I'm not even going to explain it correctly, but essentially you have like 2 people on either side of this table. And they're wearing like sensors on their, like electromagnetic like sensors on their head. And it's measuring like the alpha and like delta waves. And in between, so they're both playing with slime sitting down on this table. And the table has magnets underneath that are connected to the magnets here, measuring the alpha and delta waves. And so there's a ball in the middle and the ball moves towards the person that is more stressed out, i.e. their alpha and delta waves are like high or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But... you know, so I'm trying to like, no one like is explaining this to me and I'm trying to read up on my phone before the museum opens, like more about alpha and delta waves and this, that, and the other. And I remember being like, I studied psychology. I mean, obviously like it wasn't neuroscience.
No.
Why can't I make sense of this Wikipedia article about alpha and delta waves? And then I just felt like an idiot. I was like, am I just going to live out the rest of my life working these really fucking random jobs in hopes of stuff coming to fruition? Because I feel like as an artist, you have to know a lot of things on a surface or maybe a deeper level.
You got to know a little bit about everything.
If you're playing a pediatrician on New Amsterdam, you're going to have to know some stuff.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, if you're doing a monologue that... you know, you're playing the character of a pediatrician, you have this monologue, like, you're gonna know, like, this much stuff about what you're talking about.
You look at words.
So as a performing artist, yes, you have to have, like, a good knowledge base of different things, but you are not specialized in anything. But moving people and moving yourself.
It's an instrument.
And it makes you... I almost feel like... because I can relate to so many people, but I don't have a specialization in any one thing. And it makes me like feel like, am I wasting my time not going back to school for something more tangible? Or is it okay because like naturally I want to be versed in like random stuff and be able to shapeshift and stuff like that, but people don't see you as a fully realized professional until you are one. You know what I mean?
Yes. And it's a constant thing of like,
oh, it sucks.
It's a constant thing of like being like, you have an education. Like I have a fucking master's degree in acting, which is like still in acting, but it was hard and whatever. But it's like every day, it's like, I remember the chip on my shoulder was huge when I moved to New York. Yeah. It's gotten progressively smaller and smaller.
As it does.
It just has to.
Friggin' everyone.
You has to, the chip, you gotta just like, you gotta find a job in which you do feel appreciated, and you gotta find a place in which like, there is a certain, more like a support of like being like, we know you're smart and we know that you're doing this for a reason. You need some validation in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she would be like, you're smart. And that felt great.
It sucks because
and I haven't heard that
in a while.
Well, like the finance dudes like would say it every now and then, and I was like, "Oh, I'm being validated by this person."
Exactly.
And it's like, no, why do I have to?
Why do we need that external
validation from these people that have made it whatever?
But don't you think all of it really has to do with the fact that half the time we're on our social media comparing our lives to other people?
I hate that. I hate that shisa. And all of it's fake.
And
it's all fake.
But it's like, you could be having a great day. I could be having a great day. And I wake up and if I open my Instagram, something will sometimes trigger me to the point of like, it makes me feel for some reason.
Yeah.
Like a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
And there's no real reason for this.
Also, side tangent about Instagram lives. I might offend people, but there are some people that somehow make money like...
From Instagram lives.
From Instagram or like consulting, and they always have like the same aesthetic. It's like their apartments have like white walls and they have like a banana leaf, and like I'm just like, but like I can't even explain what you do for a living. How are you okay right now? Do you know what I mean?
I like,
and like, okay, so like one of my roommates is a TikTok creator.
Oh, God.
He makes money from live streams. Like, I understand that because I see the work he puts in. I don't understand these people that are like, I'm a consultant.
So what are they helping people with?
I have no idea, girl. Like, I don't even know. I don't know how they make money. I don't know why I would give them money. I don't know. I'm like, who's funding your lifestyle? Because nothing makes sense. Like if everyone could do this, they would. I don't know.
It's got to be, the money must be coming from something. They probably come from money, and maybe that's why they have so much time on their hands.
It's so
like,
weird. It's like, are people paying you in order to get your lifestyle, but they're not? So then they keep paying you? I don't get it. I don't get it, girl. There are so many just facades.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like, you don't really... I find that when I am... And I've seen this in my feed and like as how I work, when I'm at my best and when I'm like actually doing really well, that's when I'm almost least active on my social media.
Same. Like if I have to keep projecting, oh, I have this great life. Oh, look, I'm like on the subway. Oh, look, I'm like at a rooftop party for once. That is when I'm most hollow.
When you are constantly recording your life, you're actually putting a pause on the actual life that you're living.
100.
Like you're actually stopping the moment to record the moment that has passed.
It's like you are stepping outside of the actual lived experience.
Yes.
And in order to have a perceived experience.
But my thing is, yes, but my thing is, if the moment is that great, why would you want to stop the moment?
Exactly.
There's got to be something that's missing there that's making you stop the moment in order to take several photographs of the picture and of the moment. And I'm not saying I don't do it. When I travel, when I obviously do it. I take my selfies. I love selfies. I think they're great. If you're feeling yourself, you should put that shit out there. But that's kind of what I like about the selfie more than anything else, is that when you are taking a selfie, I feel like nobody's around. It's not like you're doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of fine to put a pause on the...
It's like a Lizzo moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, like, I'm saying, like, if I'm taking a selfie, you know I took several selfies. You know that I got time on my hands.
Of them.
Yeah, you know that I got time on my hands.
Possible.
Exactly. You know that I'm not with other people.
No.
So, and you already know that I'm not living my best life in that moment.
I'm in my room. Yeah.
But I'm feeling myself, and there's nothing wrong with feeling yourself. Like, I think feeling yourself is completely, like, valid. Do it. But to me, I just wonder when it comes to like these celebrities that we look up to and people that like are constantly on Instagram and whatever, I wonder how much of life is really their own when they're constantly stopping life in order to get those shots and to portray that life.
So before I nannied here, I worked on Martha's Vineyard as a babysitter.
I knew that.
Yeah. And there's this one family that I babysat for. They live in Manhattan. And the mom has been, like, trying to get an Instagram presence for, like, the longest time. And she, like, has one. Like, she's, like, gained sponsorship and stuff like that. But I remember... And, like, a lot of the time I would babysit their children while they were there. So it's just... Which is a thing. So I was just, like, following them along on their travels on Martha's Vineyard. And she would stop everything and get the 3 kids to, like, pose. And she's, like, yelling at them. And she's, like, not listening to the tour guide at the farm and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so you're all smiles and everything's great. And you don't have a wrinkle on your face.
Yeah.
But at the end, like, you're not happy. You're yelling at your kids. Your husband doesn't want to take these pictures.
No.
Like what is going on?
I don't know. I just know that I have taken my little breaks, and my friends make fun of me because I will take a break. I feel like there's a meme on this, but it's like when you take a break from like social media and then you just feel like a monk. Like you just feel like you're so enlightened.
You're like a Tibetan monk,
I'm just like
making your sand
Just
sculptures.
like,
that
yes,
you're gonna put.
like legit.
I did that during my depression.
I did it too during my depression. It was actually really helpful. Did it help you out?
I was kind of like, I did it, but also I was kind of like a creeper at times. And then I would like retract from it and I would be like,
why can't I stop myself?
Does everyone think I'm dead? Because I haven't posted since October 12th. And this was like November 14th.
And why has nobody texted me?
Why does no one care? Does everyone know I'm depressed? Because Homegirl has not posted since October 12th. That's a long time.
Nobody loves me.
No stories. Or maybe there were some stories, but it was all like, I'm in the suburbs.
What?
You know what I mean?
I think the best is like, what I did
Tibetan
find.
Monk, though.
Yeah, it's just like, you're just like.
100.
Yeah. But
Namaste
what I found the best from doing that was that like, I had to text and call people. I had to put myself out there because this is the thing. It's an illusion that you know what's happening with your friends. It's because they post pictures. Yeah. So you don't feel the need to ever really reach out to your friends as much or your family because you see pictures of them.
I feel like shit about that because I have this one friend who she posts a lot of stories and she and I have very similar sense of humor and like we've hung out a couple of times, but like we haven't hung out in the past 4 months, but still I'll like, you know, comment on her stories and just be like, LOL, and like we'll like vaguely make plans to hang out, and I'm just like, can she even call me a friend? Because I'm just like a voyeur at this point.
It's like almost like a false sense of like
security.
Well, in the sense of weird. Like I know what you're kind of doing, so I'm in that way we're connected.
Yeah, like you're in this show right now, and like you're working this job, and you're always tired, and you're hilarious,
you don't really know
like,
what's happening.
Hung out 4 times.
Yeah. You don't really know what's going on with people.
Yeah.
So what I found doing that was like that I was much more active like with like let's hang out and let's like talk through text.
Yeah.
Than like just kind of going about my day and just seeing whatever is going on like on Instagram.
Yeah. And then I have some friends that I don't even have their phone number. We just like DM each other the whole time.
I feel like do we even have our
No. Like I was thinking about that. I was like what if I show up and I forgot the number of your apartment and then I couldn't access Insta? I don't know. It's weird.
Well, it's funny because like I was just like I realized recently that like when I meet somebody new,
Instagram.
I don't ask for phone numbers.
I ask for Instagram.
I ask for Instagram.
Yeah, which is how like my current dating situation.
So that's the thing. I'm talking to someone and it's like,
it's always Instagram.
And it was Instagram. And then finally it was just like, we should probably get each other's numbers, you know?
Like, but then it feels like an awkward conversation too.
Well, it feels more like you have to sort of like be a little more on it.
Yeah.
Because like it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
It's a little more essential,
it's
right?
It's like front line. Yeah. The front lines.
What do you take a seat? Take a seat. I'm talking about Frontline.
Oh, I was like,
isn't that called Dateline? It's Dateline, not Frontline. Okay. Never mind. Have you seen Dateline?
I don't think I've deliberately seen it.
But you know what I'm talking about.
In a way.
This shit's so funny.
That was really great. I thought you were talking to me. You're a fucking great actress. Like, yeah, no, Instagram. It's always about the handle. Like the guy that I am seeing.
It's always about the handle. It's always
about the handle.
Such a millennial.
So the guy that I'm seeing now, I think he's like not even a millennial.
He's like a Gen Zer.
Which is great, because I have a lot of friends his age.
So he's 4 years younger than you?
Yeah. He's 4 years younger than me. That's Gen Z, right?
I don't know. Is that still 20s?
Yeah. I think it's like early 20s.
Like what? Like 21, 22?
He's 23. I think Gen Z starts at 22, maybe, at this juncture.
You mean it's younger than 22, not starts at 22.
Yeah, as in, yeah.
Yeah, no, because I think it's if you're born, like, after 95 or something, right?
Okay, then he's Gen Z.
I don't know. I'm making that up. Yeah, I actually don't. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because, like, I think our generation is, like, 1985. It starts at 1985.
It's, like, 85 to, like, 98 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 98. Okay, so he's, like, millennial, like, young millennial. But he's like slightly old school in ways.
I met those guys. Yeah.
But like old soul. But so when because I met him. He was working the front desk of the gym when I was back home in Rhode Island, and like we would chat and whatever else. And I was not feeling myself, and so I was just like, I was not feeling good about myself outwardly and inwardly.
Yeah.
And so I would, in my mind, I'm like, I think intellectually maybe he's flirting with me, or maybe he's just being nice. You couldn't tell. I couldn't tell, and I was like, maybe he's just being nice, but I've like never felt like more shit in my life in the past 5 years. Yeah. So like I'm just trying to like chalk this up to the fact that like, okay, so he's a personal trainer, so maybe he's trying to like make me a client. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I was like writing it off, and then like the last night I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going back to New York, and he was like, oh, I haven't even gotten to know you yet. Or, like, I was just starting to get to know you. So, is he visiting
or, like, moving?
What?
Is he visiting or is he moving?
On Friday? Yeah. He's visiting.
Valentine's Day.
Girl, I've known this guy for all of a month and a half. But when I was, like...
Valentine's Day.
Because in my mind, I was still just, like, he's not into me. So, and I didn't want a relationship at this point. And so he was, like... I was just getting to know you, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, let's exchange Instagrams, and whenever you're in the city, let me know. Like, very much like, no.
Yes.
Don't funk with my heart. And he goes,
no.
Yeah. And
is that Fergie?
Yeah, it was.
Wonder if I take you home. Would I still be in love, baby?
So he was like, oh, I don't really use Instagram that much. Let's exchange phone numbers. And I was like, this, in my mind, I'm like, this went to a place.
My last two...
How fucked up
my
is
last
that?
two boyfriends...
Like, this went to a place.
My last two boyfriends didn't have Instagrams when I dated them, and then they got Instagrams after we broke up, both.
His is like, it's like a barren kind of... It's like, there's shit from 2018, and then there's like shit from his high school years, which... wasn't too long ago.
God.
He has a handful of posts, but like he deliberately was like, no, I want your number. And I was just like, I can't with you.
Is he cute?
He's super cute. Yeah. Oh God, he's going to listen to this. It's so weird because I try to keep it. Hold on. I'll show you.
This is instant gratification, guys. We are blunt. Except I don't like to say, for some reason I'm so about other people being open, but for me I'm just like I will not say names. Aw,
he's so
little
cute.
Dork. Yeah, he's cute.
He's super cute. But yeah, like for me to be like, oh, you just You just asked for my number. Ooh, it's going to a place.
That's going.
It's going to a place, bruh.
It's too serious. Well, it's just like when anybody calls, it's just like, oh my god, why?
Well,
what did I do? This is scary.
He says, he's like, he texts me and he's like, can we do like a 1990s phone call tonight? And I'm like, bitch, you don't even remember the 90s.
Yeah, like
my parents were getting divorced when you were like barely an infant.
That's why he said that, because he just thinks he knows, but he doesn't know.
It's like, do you remember 2000?
Do you remember
9/11?
Do you remember when we used to like be on the phone with boys and we would
Do you remember the three-way call?
Yes.
Did you ever fuck someone over?
Like what?
In a three-way call?
Like,
all right,
ended? Like,
no, not like in a relationship. All right, no, I don't want to get into this.
Wait, what?
I've done some shit with three-way calls. And the thing about three-way calls, do they exist? But like before,
do they exist anymore?
on the landlines, like they would charge your parents like $1 each time you pressed that button. So it's like each time I was trying to be vindictive or just like chat with my friends over the hills or Laguna Beach. Yeah, I was charging $1 to my parents.
Like, what the fuck? I don't remember that.
Yeah, they would. I'm pretty sure it was like $1.
I feel like I used to
flash button.
I feel like I used to have more three-way calls, but I already had a phone at that point.
Okay, yeah. No, this was like chilling on a landline, three-way calls.
Oh, the landline. I remember having like some boy conversations on the landline, and they were always like so awkward, and I was always like, I can't have a boyfriend. Like, it was always like me being like, I think I should focus on school. Because when I was such a fucking prude. Character. I was the worst. I love that though. I was the worst. Guys, I did make up for it. Did I make up for it?
I was a prude.
Oh, what a prude.
I think people thought I wasn't, especially in middle school. Because I hung out with kind of like
boys?
No, like
slutty girls. The
slutty
yeah.
The little, I'm sorry, guys.
The mean girls from middle school.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they're kind of mean girls.
Did you have the thong over the jeans?
They weren't mean. Actually, I didn't.
Did you ever do the thong over the jeans?
No, fuck that, girl.
That shit was
Did you
do
that?
No.
Who does that?
I used to wear this shit this is too much. I used to wear like a little girl. I used to dress like a fucking little 1990s little girl, like little immigrant Cuban. Though. Like, oh I was a little immigrant Cuban.
You were like the other American girl doll.
Yeah, but except not American. Like,
exactly.
Like, oh my god.
But like you know how Josephina was like chilling with her braid?
I don't even know anything about these dolls because I'm that much of an immigrant. Okay, I am though. I'm
wait. So you're Cuban?
I was born in Cuba. I moved to the U.S. when I was like 9, 10 years old. Jesus. So like my childhood was in Cuba. So then like I've had to catch up a lot. I mean, I've lived in the US more than in Cuba obviously now.
Yeah.
But like I had to catch up on a lot of American culture stuff. Like I had to teach myself.
Biggest thing?
I think the biggest
cuz 9 is kind of a tough age.
I knew I wanted to be an actor even back then, and I was like, I can't have an accent. So I stopped watching Spanish television. Yeah. That's how... You want to talk about fucked up.
You know what? Yeah. I actually read a quote yesterday that Lin-Manuel said to Anthony Ramos.
Yes.
You might have read this.
No, I don't think so.
Anthony, I think like during like the workshopping of Hamilton or whatever, said to Lin, he's like, I need to get rid of my accent. And Lin goes, Don't fucking do that, bro. Just be authentically yourself.
That is such a new concept, I think, for people.
It's very new.
But I think specifically for people of, I don't even want to say POC, but like whatever. Because for the longest time, like I've met Latinos, especially here in New York, that like they like are Latinos, but they don't even know Spanish. They don't know anything because their family because the thing is like in America,
like shut it off.
You shut it off because you want to be as Americanized as you can, so you could lay low. That's what you want to do. You want to lay 90s low.
And even early 2000s, how homogenized pop culture was. Friends, everyone was white. Even of the white people,
but like
everyone I know. And what's really weird, so I have a lot of friends. Like I said, my friend Yada, one of my good friends that I met here, is from Israel. My friend Joe is from England, but he grew up in Spain and like whatever else. But they all live and die. Not Joe so much, but a lot of people that I know that are like Israeli and then like even Eastern European, they live and die by Friends. Like people that are our age or even younger are just like, Friends is the shit. Friends was like my first introduction to New York. Like I love it. And Sex and the City. And I just think about, you know, those were like early 2000s and 90s. Yeah. I just think about how whitewashed those shows were, and the fact that like that's your perception of New York City is insane. And then I've had actor friends who are Caucasian that like I did like theater with in Rhode Island that are like heavier set or like weren't like the prototypical like pretty girl in the 90s that are in they're in their like late 30s now, and they said to me, they're like, what sucks is that if I was born 10 years later, I would have a chance. Now more than I ever did then, because it was like that willowy stick thin white girl blonde hair. That was all the rage in America, like in the 90s and early 2000s.
What's her name? Kate Moss. Like that was
all of it. 90210. I mean, which I've never seen an episode of, but
not
like,
the old shit.
That was the shit.
Yeah, but it's crazy to think that wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
But now it's crazy how like I'm trying to think of like the first few shows and the first few things that like were like, oh fuck, like that's like not, those aren't white people. And that what was, I feel like we're like there was something that was like very
like, I'm sorry, Bill Cosby, I'm sorry that you fucked up.
Ugh.
But the Cosby Show
was
we weren't like cognizant when that was a hit, but like I remember watching it on Nick at Night at like 9:30.
Same, me too.
And I loved it, and it never crossed my mind
to think that was like different,
or to think that they were other than me. Do you know what I mean?
Like,
but like I've only ever lived in blue states,
right?
And like I don't know how Kansas City is.
Kansas City's much more like the city. I feel like it's more liberal, but the outskirts is very red.
And did you have some experience like in the outskirts? Because I know you did like regional theater there.
I mean, well, I did.
Which would be in the city.
Well, it's in the city.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was dating someone that was a Republican for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So he was my longest relationship I ever had. So so that was like very a cause for a lot of like discussion.
100%. Because if you had children, I mean, you yourself, and then if you had children, like, stop.
But that's the thing, like that. But we can get into politics, but like that was the thing. Like from his point of view, he's the kind of person that goes like, well, I don't see how we're different. I don't see how we're different from people from Black people or Latinos in like a way of being like
nonchalant.
No, like being like we're all equal. I don't get the problem.
No, but like fundamentally, like let's break it down.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about we're saying the red states and blue states. You don't coexist with people of color.
So you're like out of sight, out of mind. So you just
think everyone's the same, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the sense of like, you don't really see the issues, or you're kind of blind to the issues much more.
Yeah.
Because you don't have friends that are, or people that you know aren't going through stuff.
And
it
still exists in this city. It still exists.
Well, this city is so...
It's so divided. And it's crazy, like some of the, like, because I've worked with wealthy people, some of the shit that even they would say. I mean, not saying like, oh, no, I mean, but like some of the stuff, like I would, like this one mom that lived near my former boss was like, hey, Paige, do you know of any friends that like could babysit my kids? You know, because my nanny's going to be going on maternity leave. And my first year, I had like no friend group because I was always working. So like my friends were the people that whose coffee shop I went to a lot. They worked at the coffee shop. And so I referred her to this girl, and I remember one other mom saying, oh, but is it that girl? And I remember just being like, why does it fucking matter if it's a Caucasian girl or not? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it matters.
But it matters only when that person is of a certain age, which is fucked up.
No, I think it matters depending on, it's the people that are in power. So I'll tell you like maybe like 2 instances of what I've noticed in the service industry. I've noticed like my first restaurant, the one that I hated, cafe that I hated, absolutely fucking hated, they never, ever hired black people. And black people would go.
What area of the city?
Upper West Side. Which is where I work, and I love the Upper West Side. I'm not bashing the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
Another place where I worked, that's messed up. They only hired specific Eastern European people. And hiring me, but because I present myself in a certain way that is acceptable.
So crazy.
It's fine.
It's so crazy.
One of the last places that I've worked, I may or may not be currently working there. I work at a few places. Yeah. So that's not saying much. I was hired, and one of the part owners, so there's a couple owners. One of the owners who's not there anymore, but he is an investor.
Yikes.
In front of my face would be the nicest guy ever, in almost creepy. Like he was kind of like
what do you want?
Yeah, like what do you want from me? So whatever.
Yeah.
I thought he really liked me just in general. Yeah. After he leaves, the person that hired me goes, oh yeah, he was kind of pissed that I hired you. And I was like, why is that? He was like, 'cause you're not blonde. He wanted blonde girls to work here.
Honestly,
he wants blonde bartenders.
How freaking dare you? And
I have it fucking easy.
It's crazy because I
have it so easy.
You are very you're like a very attractive, gregarious person.
But even and educated and all the things.
You have a master's degree.
But that's still a thing. The fact that you're that person, old school person.
Honey, no.
The fact that I wasn't blonde was a thing. I think we kind of talked about the idea of not being good enough. And we talked about that idea not just with theater and acting, but in relationships. But when you invest in someone and have you had long-term relationships
in New York?
No, in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes I think it took my last relationship for me to be what are boundaries? Mm-hmm. I never even knew what that was when it came to relationships. In the sense of setting boundaries and being if this isn't the boundary that I've set, or if this person's crossing that boundary, then that person's not the right person for me.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in being is it when people talk and they complain about their relationship lives and their romantic lives or whatever, do we have to take responsibility for how those relationships end, as well as because we tend to blame other people for a lot of things, but are we in some way attracting certain things into our lives and allowing those things to fester and to become something, instead of being that's a red flag? That's a thing that I told myself I would never do, but why am I accepting that? Why am I accepting behavior from somebody like this when did I ever even tell myself that I wouldn't accept this behavior?
Yeah.
Have I ever even had that conversation with myself before?
Yeah.
So is it just, are we choosing the wrong partner? Are we choosing the wrong people?
Because I had a pretty problematic short relationship over the summer with someone. And everyone is so different at the onset that it's hard for you to be I know this is a red flag, but I don't give a shit. Because it usually
takes a bit.
It unravels when you are too far gone to back away from it. You're well, the sex is good. Yep. And he pays some, not that he pays, but you're there are all these factors. He's conventionally attractive, and he reads at night, and
that's cute. And I like
that's cute, and he's smart and whatever, and he gives back to his family, but he said some pretty shitty things to me, and he's done some pretty shitty things while we were more or less together. But then you're like too far gone. Like, I think it's hard for us to judge a person
because you don't know yet
at the onset. And even I have to remind myself, like, I've only been like seeing, sorry, my stomach. I've only been seeing this person for like a month and a half, but I've built him up in my head.
Oh, we do that. We
do you
immediately
know what I mean?
do that.
Like I've probably hung out with him or been in the vicinity of him, even though we grew up a mile away from each other but didn't know each other. But like I've only been around him for maybe 56 hours. That's it. Like, how do I know our compatibility? I've built him up. And then I like listen to songs and like daydream about what could be and like do all this stuff.
Because I feel like, at least in my experience, it's like it takes like experience with that person and actual life events to unravel, so you could actually see what this person is about.
Oh yeah, and then also like being,
because we're all the best versions of ourselves. Yeah.
Also being slightly older than him, I have a good vantage point because I know. You start to see, like, shit, there are bills. Shit, there are student loans. Shit, there are credit scores.
Story of my life.
And I'm not about, like, harping over those things, but I know, like he's finishing up school right now, and he doesn't know the half of it. You know, adulthood.
But
like, even my friends that are, like 23, 24, I'm like, you guys don't know, like, the burden that I bear at this point.
So for you, in that situation,
yeah,
aren't these already red flags that you should be aware of before you jump in?
It's not that they're red flags. They're just, like, they're, like, bookmarks. Do you know what I mean? And it's not even a function of him. It's, like, a function of his age.
It's just his age, right.
Comparatively, you know? Like, he's still on his parents' health insurance because he's of age. You know, like, he's never had to pay off student loans quite yet. I mean, he has had an apartment before, but it was never, like, far removed from where his parents live.
But it depends on what you want. For me, it's, like, it depends on what you're looking for. Like, I've gotten to the point in which, like, to me, if I was in a situation, because of what I've been through.
Have been, yeah.
Those are... And no freaking way.
But how old was?
Not that
young. It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, yeah.
I set a boundary as of right now that I'm trying to follow, which is I'm not dating anybody in their 20s.
Gotcha.
It's just a boundary that I did because not because I regret my relationships. My relationships were like pretty great. That's why they hurt when they're done, because they were actually for the most part pretty great. But in a way, it's like you get burnt by the same sort of stereotypical person, meaning like there's a type involved, right?
Yeah.
So what's the type? I've been burned too many times. Not too many times, but like a couple times for me to know this kind of person. I'm attracted to that kind of person.
For sure.
But it doesn't seem like I'm too emotionally mature to deal with somebody that doesn't have an emotional maturity.
I got you.
Do you know what I mean?
For him... So first off, he's very different from the guys that I've dated probably in the past 4 years of my life. I haven't dated someone. Well, he like plays in like he was in a band before, so I haven't been in a relationship with someone that has identified as an artist in a long time. Which like I swore I would not go back to.
Definitely don't,
girl. Which I swore I would not go back to, but like whatever. I think something that is like a nice like drawing factor of him and his experiences. Yes, he's young, but like he's been through some shit that mimics shit that I've been through. And like he understands what it's like to grind in his own way, and he understands like not having his shit together in high school and like being tossed around, and like that's happened to me. Whereas like the people that I've dated before, like for example, there was this one guy that was in med school that I dated last year at Columbia, and I made him like breakfast in my apartment, and then he washed the dishes, which is so nice. But so I started doing the dishes, and then he's like, no, let me do it. And, like, he took over, and he ends up, like, he's like, this water is so hot. How are you even coping with this? And it was on that moment that I was like, you've never had a manual labor job. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, because he just didn't even, like...
Because, like...
He didn't even, like, understand that, like...
You have to sanitize, or even to just have had the experience of, like, immersing your hands in hot water. Do you know what I mean? Which is, like... I know that
you didn't feel it. You didn't feel it that much?
No. For me, I was like, I've been working with my hand. Like, I've had to wash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you wash things. Like, you're like, yeah.
And I'm like, the fact that you don't know what it's
so
like.
Interesting.
You don't know what it's like. And like, he's very intelligent. And so I, like, brought this up right away. And he's paused and was like, you're right. And then he paused again and he's like, you know, I may not have ever worked a manual labor job. And, like, was
of
very,
course.
like, intellectually could like empathize with me and stuff like that.
Oh, cerebrally,
There's
I'm
one
sure.
thing,
Yeah.
like to empathize with someone on that level, to be like, this plus this equals this, and that's your experience, this is my experience, and I feel for you. But then there's another point where it's knowing. Like, yo, but I feel for you because I've had to live out of my car before.
Yeah.
Because shit was hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something nice about that, but then there's also in the back of my head where it's just like, I don't want to save someone. I don't want someone to save me. No. Are we going to spiral together?
I think the emotional maturity really comes down to experience. Yeah. If you've lived enough and experienced enough things, then I feel like you definitely, I think you can't help but be more in tune with your emotions. Yeah. You can't help but know what those emotions, different emotions are like, and different, like, people and how other people live. Like, I think that's kind of like, if you take somebody who doesn't matter what their age is, if you take somebody in their 30s or 40s, if they've never put themselves in a place in which they had to learn something, it doesn't matter how old they are. Time just passes. Yeah. You could be living in the same little neighborhood your whole life and never fly to fucking any other country.
Yeah, you're married to your high school sweetheart.
Exactly. So there is a level of, like, for me, I've realized, like, I need more of somebody in the sense of, like, with an emotional maturity, but also, like, I travel. I travel a lot.
Same.
Yeah, like,
my mom wasn't born, like, you know, I've had a passport since I was, like, 5 months old.
Like, that aspect of life of, like, being like, I know what different cultures are like. I wasn't even born in this country. Like, you know, things like that. Like, I need someone to kind of, like, a lot of New Yorkers, which I've noticed, the ones that are from here, do not do a lot of that. They love New York. They think it's the best place in the fucking world. And a lot of them that I met are like, why would I need to go anywhere else to explore?
Actually, yeah.
Why would I need to go fucking anywhere else?
It also seems like, it's also like people of a certain income bracket too. Do you know what I mean?
You think like people that are wealthier tend to...
Like, I can't imagine having a 4-person household and being middle income in New York. I can't imagine. And middle income in Manhattan is like, it's $200,000.
It's like rich anywhere else.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, my former boss could retire and move somewhere. Like, she could move to Westchester. She's had friends that have done this. You move to Westchester with your family.
Yeah, that's what you do.
No one has to work. But then your mind, like, deteriorates and you're, like, counting your child's, like, food intake and this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, they could do that.
They're working in the city and they're living in Westchester?
No, they just retire at, like, age 37 and then move to Westchester. Wait, they've made enough money.
That they can do that?
But then they're like, mine
First of all, why would you want to fucking retire at 30?
Fuck Westchester, honestly. Well, because they, like, thought of this life together. Not my boss, but, like, friends, the specific couple.
That's crazy.
They had a child together in Westchester. And mind you, the mother, like, graduated from MIT at, like, age 17 or 19. And, like, so her mind is insane. And so as a result of like not working and living in the sticks, she started micromanaging her child. Like she would like start Excel spreadsheets about like bottles and like all this stuff and his movements. And
the other day, somebody literally told me at the bar, they were like, I regret that I retired at 55.
Honestly.
Because they were like, I didn't think I was going to live this long.
How old are they?
I think I was talking to someone maybe in their like their 70s or something, and they were like, I didn't realize that I was gonna want to keep working, and I wanted to like do things, and I thought, because back then, like older generations back then, 55 was the you didn't live that fucking longer than that, like not really, but now it's like people don't retire until they're 65 or 70, and then they live a little longer, So
if they keep active though,
you have to keep healthy,
because if you don't keep the wheels churning over there, if you don't have a purpose, you're gonna peter out pretty fast.
That's why I try to keep healthy. It's hard sometimes, especially in New York. I feel like sometimes it's hard. It's weird. Like it shouldn't be.
It depends. Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
I mean, so you have access to any cuisine. Anything. You have access to very healthy food. And
but you
very
don't have
not
time.
So healthy. And then also like you're always running to, and I mean like I've had jobs and things like that in the city where like I'm constantly expending calories, and then I can have a croissant and like it's fine, but like recently like I've kind of been like trying to take it slow with myself, but I'm still like, yeah, I can have a croissant, but like it's not adding up, and it's weird. Yeah, it's strange. And also it's like an emotional crutch too. Yeah.
For you, food?
Yeah. As of late, it has been. Yeah.
Do you think that's like one of those things like instant gratification, if we're going to talk about that? Like, do you need, is this like a pick me up? Like
for sure.
Oh, it is?
For sure.
I'm almost the opposite. If really? I'm not doing well, I don't have an appetite.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I have an appetite when I'm, like, healthy and I'm working out and I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I don't have an appetite when I'm sad. I lose weight whenever I'm sad.
Shit, dude.
Yeah. And it's like, but yes, you know, counting fucking calories and knowing, oh, I didn't work out today, so I can't really have that, or it's fucking stressful. So it's annoying. The worst. Like I like intermittent fast, and it's still like I still feel bad when I eat.
It's such a thing.
And not all the time. That sounds terrible.
No.
I mean, but I think everyone has eating issues. That's my personal. I don't think everyone has. I haven't met a single person in my whole life, almost male or female, but mainly female, that has been like, yeah, I'm like kind of happy with like eating or not eating, or like I love food and I don't really care I'm happy with my body. Like I've never met a single person that has ever expressed that.
No.
That's terrible.
It is sad.
But
it's sad.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Do you want to go eat something?
Girl.
I'm starving there.
Girl, what's your spot though?
I have all the spots over there.
But like where would we go?
I want sushi.
Fuck, I haven't had sushi in a while. Should we get sushi?
I want sushi. Well, that's it.
Sushi.
That's it for this episode, guys. We're gonna go get some food. I feel like every episode that I've had so far has ended with me going to eat. It's been like a thing.
And then you talk about it.
We've talked about the food in the podcast, and then we go and we have the food. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for episode 3. Thank you guys for listening. Okay. We're gonna go get some food, and
sleepy.
And I'm sleepy too. I can't believe it's already 8. Thank you guys.